All right, please use the raise hand function for any questions for junior wide receiver Simi Fehoko. We'll start with Rusty Simmons for the San Francisco Chronicle. Go ahead, Rusty.
Simi, I was just going to ask a super general question about expectations for this season. I know it's only a weekend, but what do you guys expect?
I think for us, expectations are big. I think just the wide receiver core in general, we expect to be, not only the best in the Pac-12, but also the best in the nation. And I think we have the talent to do that. And as an offensive standpoint, we expect to put up some numbers with, Davis slinging the rock around, and we have a bunch of playmakers. I think we can do that. So, that's our expectations, and, we're going to strive for greatness.
You mentioned your receiver group and Davis slinging it around. How have you guys looked in this first week? How is the timing right now?
Obviously, it's a little new, because we didn't necessarily get the whole year last year to, work with him and, bringing some new guys along with, Elijah Higgins, bringing Bryson back into the mix as well. It's a little new, and that's something we expected. But as soon as we start clicking, I know for a fact that we're going to be unstoppable.
Thanks, Simi.
Our next question will come from Jacob Rayburn with the Cardinal Sports Report. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, Simi. I hope you and your family are doing all right and healthy. And I was wondering with practices, something that we've been talking with the coaches about and really just watching college football in general, given the circumstances, it seems to be everyone's just kind of working hard to be as close as possible to where you would normally be in ideal circumstances. What's your mindset about that of knowing that there are going to be things you guys are farther behind on than normal just because of the circumstances and having to work through that mentally?
Right. Obviously we've, given the circumstances, we haven't really had the opportunity to, I touched on it just in the last question, grow that chemistry with Davis. And I think, it's growing. It definitely will be there. But in that terms, we sort of make up for it. We've had a lot of, time and meetings spent in the playbook, and we've been over with our entire, receiver core. So a lot of us, we may not have the chemistry right now with Davis, but we all know the playbook and are becoming more versatile and being used in more ways.
And this might have a better answer to it a couple of practices from now, but what are your first impressions so far of the freshmen of John, Silas, and Bryce?
Man, these guys are ball players. We got some speedy guys, some big guys, and they can play. That's it. And I don't know. I can't necessarily answer if they're going to play this year, but a lot of them can help contribute, whether it's in the scout team or if it's going to actually be playing on the field with our good solid group of guys. They're solid though.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from RJ Avadia with the Bootleg. Go ahead, RJ.
So, Simi, I'd like a little scout on the secondary. Who is the surest tackler and who is the hardest hitter so far?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think within our secondary, I think, for me, from what I've seen, I think the hardest hitter and surest tackle is definitely going to have to be Kendall Williamson. He's a solid player and he's a playmaker. He goes out there and makes plays.
And then just a quick follow-up. Have you had your welcome to tackle football moment yet out there on the field yet? Have you either been able to give out a good block or has someone gotten you good yet?
We've been going back and forth. We're not supposed to necessarily be tackling when we were at the high school and stuff, but it was a little physical with playing with the new DBs and getting back at it with against John McGill, Malik, Antoine. These guys are all physical. So we can't necessarily step down. So a lot of the receivers, we've been laying some hits. We've been laying some hits, and we actually had the opportunity to tackle today. I personally think the receivers won. DBs might think something else, but hey, I guess I guess that's how it goes.
Thank you, Simi.
Yeah.
For our next question, we'll head back to Rusty Simmons.
RJ kind of beat me to it. I was going to ask you about the secondary also, especially Malik. Coach Anderson said a pretty neat thing about him the other day, that he could coach up every position in the secondary. What do you think when you're going against him? What do you see in his understanding of the game?
You know, he's been here since the beginning. He's actually my same class. I signed with him. But I obviously left on my mission. But just since I've been back and got to know him, he's the I would say the best leader that we have on our team. You know, he knows the defensive playbook in and out, and he leads like that. So I mean, it helps having someone. It's sort of like he's like the quarterback for the defense. He can get the DBs lined up. He can get the linebackers lined up. He can get the nickels lined up. He has everything, in his arsenal, and he uses that to his ability.
And big picture, I was going to ask you about national news being made COVID-wise at Alabama and Florida. Are you guys paying much attention to what's going on at other programs, or are you so dialed into what you guys are doing in your protocols that doesn't really matter that much?
I mean, it's cool. You might get an ESPN notification, hey, Nick Saban got COVID, and the guys, say, hey, Nick Saban got COVID. But I mean, at the same time, it's like we're locked in on what we're doing. We see it, but I mean, we don't really pay any attention to it, and we just try to lock in and head down, do the work.
Much appreciated.
Our next question will move back to RJ Abadia.
So, Simi, I'm just curious, as a guy who did a mission and came back and obviously got himself back into shape, have you had a chance to see Tanner McKee and just kind of what he's looked like out there? And then from your own experience, I know it's not the same position, but how long did it really take for you to get to where you felt, okay, I'm back as a college football player?
Yeah. So, I mean, back to your first question, Tanner's a baller. He can sling the ball. I think the Cardinals are going to have some solid QBs in the coming future, whether, it's Davis or whether it's Tanner or whether it's, whoever else is here. But, he can play for sure. And for me, coming back from my mission, I still personally think I'm still trying to, catch up to, my old self. But I think for me, it was more just a year under my belt just to, learn the playbook, lock in, get back into, football shape. Obviously it's two different positions. However, it's still the same mentally. I think a year was a solid time to develop, an understanding of the game again, and really, getting used to the speed of which college football is.
Perfect. Thank you, Simi.
No problem.
Any further questions for Simi? All right, thank you, Simi. We will send out audio and video in just a few moments.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.